What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to an Age of Span Studios review for the brand new mission pack. This is mission pack number 3 for Star Wars Shatterpoint. Never Tell Me the Odds. And I am being joined today by Alex in this review.
Hello.
Because the two of us, we've played a bunch of games on this one now. And very excited to finally be able to talk about this. We've gotten, like 4 or 5 games in with this one.
Something like that, yeah.
And, we've been sitting on it for close to a month now. So very, very happy to finally chat about this one. Because it does two things. First off, it introduces a new mission pack to the game, and you can see like where everything is kind of getting laid out there. Mm-hmm. But it also kind of breathes some, in our opinion anyway, some life into some models that might have been feeling a little left behind, or feel like they might not play the game the same way that models on shifting priorities or Sabotage Showdown do. Mm-hmm. So right off the hop. Let's quickly chat about what Never Tell Me the Odds actually does. So, you can see here, very dense in the center here. Do you want to quickly say what Challenging the Odds does for us?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Each time you draw a struggle from the mission deck, it's going to give you a unit type, so primary, secondary, or support. And whenever that unit manages to wound an enemy unit, you can spend a force and get an extra victory point for doing so.
Yeah, and actually, depending on when you're watching this, you'll see one game where that was hugely impactful.
Oh, yes.
I'm not gonna,
spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it because it was absolutely an amazing thing that happened in it. But it might be telegraphed, so you might see it coming a mile away. But yeah, it's really cool because it gives some more attrition-based characters a way of adding more to the score beyond simply, well, I just need to knock you off a point to score, right? Because that was kind of a big thing. Like the way characters like Anakin or Savage or Press and all that sort of stuff, their whole thing was like, well, I'll stand on a point, hold a point, and I'll try to kill anything that's on the point. Mm-hmm. And that felt a little limiting.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, we both played plenty of Mace.
Yep.
And even with Mace, that felt a little limiting, right?
Yes.
So
now, it is worth mentioning that with a lot of the primaries, the ability to get a primary challenging the odds is only in Struggle 3.
Yeah. Struggles 1 and Struggles 2 are all secondary and supporting units for it, which I think is actually really cool because we already see a bit of an emphasis on those unit types anyway in the game. Like, they do a lot of heavy lifting for us. But seeing them being able to actually grab a couple extra points on the struggle tracker is really kind of nice as well.
Yeah.
Which I'm a big fan of, especially if you can get an early clone trooper moving up or like droids or something like that. Like, if you pull the supporting unit and those droids walk up and knock somebody out, well, that's a really good early momentum for you.
Absolutely.
So, and it's important to note that it's not just an extra momentum tracker; it actually moves the struggle token.
Yes, you get an extra victory point, essentially.
Yeah. So it's like when Anakin takes a primary or secondary.
Everyone's Anakin.
Everyone is Anakin. Yeah.
Anakin's more Anakin.
Exactly. Also, one thing I want to point out, you pointed this out to me, was actually the naming conventions on some things.
Struggle 2 has.
Struggle 2 is amazing. I have a bad feeling about this. It could be worse, and it's worse. And you pointed that out to me. That is just amazing.
Yes.
AMG, whoever came up with that idea, that is fantastic.
Give that man a promotion.
Yeah, I love it. Before we talk about the actual layouts themselves, is there anything about the struggle that really jumps out for you that you really like or dislike over the other ones?
I really like we're getting a little bit into the placement of the objectives, but I really actually like the placement of this one and this one over here, the really far out from the middle ones. I think it adds a little bit more complexity and really places emphasis on that extra bit of movement that you can get, because especially in some maps with lack of ingress points and a lot of shoves, the difference between here and here can feel like an impassable divide.
Right. Yeah, because on a lot of the other struggles, you're usually within range 4 or range 5 of a lot of the other points here.
Yeah.
But on these ones, if we grab a range 5 right here, that is range 5 right there.
Yeah.
Right? And those are the closest, well, outside of these ones, they're all within 5. But you're splitting into lanes.
Yep.
Is basically what's happening. And we've played a couple games where that's actually been really impactful. Right?
If someone's standing on this point, the odds of them being able to shoot someone over here is very, very low.
They have to be pretty much at the range 2 of the objective, right?
Yes. And the other person has to be almost at the range 2 of that objective.
You can still reach out and touch them, which is great. Like there's never a point where you're like completely out of the interaction. But let's also remember, not everyone has a range 5 gun.
Not everyone has a range 5 gun.
Yeah. So it's I actually agree with you a lot. I think these little side lanes really add some interesting options to the game, and I think it also creates some interesting decision points when you're building the board and the terrain as well, because you can do some fun stuff. And then of course you can just have a friggin' mash in the middle here.
Yes.
And just absolutely, it's like, well, if you want to have a beat fest, you can have a beat fest.
Yes. I think this mission puts a lot of emphasis on the attrition. Obviously, that's what Challenging the Odds does. But I think some teams with really good mobility could also make some fun plays on this mission. For sure.
So let's take a quick look at the layouts themselves. So taking a look at the struggle number 1 here. So you can see here we have 2 secondary units with 1 supporting. And the layouts themselves are very interesting, with only one of them being kind of truly equal for both teams.
Of all the 3 mission packs so far, I think this one has by far the most interesting struggle one.
Yeah, because depending on who wins priority, if they pull this one, they have 2 objectives that are really nice and easy to control for them, so awesome. If they pull this one, they have to advance forward a little bit and actually engage. And depending on your team makeup, that might not be what you're looking for.
And having 2 out of 3 times on Struggle 1, having one of the objectives being here, means that this squad over here is probably not interacting with this objective at all.
Right.
Which means your closest objective to go and try and steal is sometimes over here.
Yeah, it's sometimes your opponent's objective.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. It really flips the script a little bit. And I love when anything forces the game to have sort of a non-mirrored approach to it, which I really like. Honestly, I look at these 3. This one's the most boring one to me.
It is.
I think it's the safest one, but it's the most boring one. Whereas
it does bring a new level of play where you kind of score these 2 objectives immediately, and then everyone goes over here.
Yeah, everyone wants something in the center. But like even looking at it, right? Like one of them is close to 1 point, then the middle, and then the other side, right? So it's like it's a really really interesting way of doing it, and I dig it a lot.
Yeah,
I really do dig it a lot.
I think there's a lot of interesting play Struggle 1, no matter what you pull.
Yeah.
And I feel like it can be very swingy as well.
No, for sure. I like it. So let's take a look at struggle number 2 here.
With the fantastic names.
Yep. So you can see here we still have the priority objectives that are happening with each struggle here. But you can also see here like each one kind of is a triangle of shrinking sizes here. So like right here, obviously they're just kind of flipped things with 2 on one side, 1 on the other, or back here 2 on 1 deployment with 1 on the other deployment, or this fella right here where it's like just let's go to the middle, and then that cheeky little side objective right there. And you can see here now we have like the 2 supporting, 1 secondary. As our options. And again, really cool stuff. I think this actually gives some really nice things to work with for whoever lost the previous struggle.
Yes.
It gives you a little bit more for it. There's always going to be a point you're fighting over. But a couple of them give you a little bit more grounds to kind of say, okay, this is the better one for me here. And I just really like how each one just feels a little bit tighter.
Yes.
So, yeah. And any particular thoughts or feelings on this one?
I think that whoever loses Struggle 1 honestly feels the best, and I love this. If you draw, it could be worse. Because generally speaking, if you lose Struggle 1, you're probably still towards the back a little bit, and being able to just say, okay, both of my back points are active, you can pretty consistently take those.
I think there's even an argument to be said for it's worse as well, because like you can sort of like castle up in a corner.
Yes,
right?
I don't dislike any of those. Let me get that clear. But I think it could be worse. Feeling really safe is a good little naming convention there.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy all of Struggle 2. I think it kind of doesn't have the same level of interest as Struggle 1, but it is still pretty good. We're back to the priority objectives, which can really change a game depending on how lucky you get there. But
yeah. And I think for the most part, a lot of them are pretty safe. So I understand what you're saying, that they're not as interesting on that one. But yeah, they're still really fun and cool. And then of course we have struggle number 3 here. So we got 1 in a million, noble sacrifice, and no such thing as luck. And these layouts are kind of wild.
Yes.
So first thing, 2 primary units with 1 secondary unit. So this is, if you get to Struggle 3, this is where your primaries can really shine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, these ones are absolutely wild. Like these two right here, the fact that you kind of like just sort of across the center of the board almost, like cutting that line, can make for a very interesting engagement. Or depending on how things go, you can continue to sort of like castle in, depending if you've lost your objective and you want to like just hold back a little bit. And then this one is just like, you know what? No, just commit to a side and just run with it.
Yeah.
And it's a really fascinating thing, and it's interesting because I find a lot of the other Struggle 3s, because I think Sabotage Showdown only has the one layout.
I think so too. Offhand?
Yeah, offhand. I think it only has the one layout. But Shifting Priorities has like the 3 different layouts, and like all of them kind of just feel, again, safe. These ones, I feel like you pull this one, it's just like no such thing as Lex. Like, well, no kidding.
That's
because if you pull this one and you're on the wrong side of it, you're just out of it, right?
It's also the one that doesn't get primaries as the challenge in the odds, so you don't really have as much of a swing with those big primary punches as you could with the other two. Yeah,
no, it's very true. And just overall though, like it's just, I think all 3 of these layouts just really kind of do some nice things for the way the game is played.
Absolutely.
And I think both of us have had a lot of fun with this mission, right?
Yes, it's been a blast playing this mission. In Struggle 3, I really like how Noble Sacrifice and 1 in a Million, it's not like in Struggle 2, they're mirrors of the same shape, but these two are 2 totally different shapes that you get to pick between. So it really kind of gives you a really interesting choice there.
Yeah, I agree. And like once you get to know these decks and you can kind of start positioning yourself to try and take advantage of it, I feel like there's not as much overlap with these ones. Like, well, I mean, if you look at this one, like nothing's in the center here, right? Which, if you pull that, oops, everyone has to separate. Like at least these two right now, there's some stuff in the center, and that's a recurring theme up until that last one. The third one is the only one that has one option where just nothing is there. So yeah, I really like it. I think overall this third mission just brings some more excitement and life to the game. I do very much wish that this was one of the original missions. I wish all 3 of these missions were in the core box to start with. I'm not going to mince words about that one. I think them sort of like drip feeding us missions was not a good thing.
But it is nice that it's here now.
It is nice that it's here now, and hopefully we start seeing some more, right?
Yes.
So, do you have any closing thoughts that you want to share?
I love this mission. It's going to be really good for Vader.
Vader likes every mission, man.
Vader likes all the missions. But love this mission. I'd love to see more things like it. More things not like it. Give us more varied. But it's a great mission. I love it. I love their design on Struggle 1. I can't stress enough that I love all 3 of those options being so varied. And it's fun. Can't wait to see other people playing it, see how they think about it.
No, for sure. I know for me, I'm hoping that in the future we see some missions move away from the priority objective option.
I think so too.
I would like to see that. I think I get what they're doing with it. It's just I want to see something a little bit different with it.
From other games I've played, the priority objective was a fun, interesting new mechanic. But we've done it 3 times now.
Yeah. Time to maybe see a different mechanic make it in. And that's not to say that it's a bad mechanic. It's
not at all.
We've seen 3 variations of Go Stand on this point.
Yeah. And
at least this variation of Go Stand on this point has the extra option of, whoa, I'm a secondary unit and I just wounded this guy, so I'm going to score an extra point on the struggle tracker. Yeah, so there we go. Leave your thoughts below. Let us know what you think about this mission pack. If you like it, dislike it, and what you maybe hope to see in future mission packs as well. So we will see you next time. Alex and I are going to be filming a lot more of this in the future, I'm sure of it.
Absolutely.
So we will see you next time. Leave your comments. And of course, if you want to support the channel, patreon.com/AegisBrand or go hit up iwargame.net and use code AegisBrand, save 10%. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to AMG for sending this mission pack out here. And we will see you next time. Happy wargaming.